take, what are the next visa options for you, and how you can apply for your permanent residency. So my name is Navjot Singh Kharoud. I'm a registered migration agent at Aussizz Group Elizabeth branch, and we have our education counselor with us, Sadman, who will be helping you to choose the right study pathway for you to get the right visa outcome. So Sadman, do you want to get started? What are the first study options that someone while in Australia can take?
Well, if you talk about early childhood education, then the student can start with the certificate 3, which can lead up to the diploma. It will be a total of 2 years course, and this within those 2 years, the student can study a lot about how to handle the child care kids and all these things, and it even creates a lot of employment opportunities. And I believe after that there are further settlement opportunities. Why don't you talk about that one now, Joe?
Yep. So if you've done certificate 3 in early childhood and a diploma of early childhood, of course you can start working as a childcare worker. You can work in kindergartens. You can work in childcare centers. Once you have finished your diploma, you can also apply for your subclass 485 visa through a graduate work stream. Now with the graduate work stream, remember that a skill assessment or a provisional skill assessment is a mandatory requirement, so you can apply through a childcare center manager. 485 at the moment is being granted for 1.5 years for a graduate work stream. Once you have completed your study, you can apply 485, and then for you to be eligible to get a permanent residency through a diploma, you'll need 3 years of post-qualification experience as a childcare center manager. So, of course, the occupation is there as a childcare worker as well, but let's talk about the PR options. The PR options would be very different. So you need to discuss these things. What are your visa options when you're applying for 485, when you're taking this opportunity? But 3 years of experience as a childcare center manager will help you to get either subclass 189, 190, or even employer sponsorship PR pathways. Let's move on from diploma, Sadman. So what would you reckon someone is here wants to start a bachelor degree? What would you recommend for them?
Absolutely, that's a very good choice. I will say, Navjot, the student only requires a completion of year 12 or equivalent, and then needs the IELTS requirement, which is 6.5, not less than 6.5 in speaking, and then not less than 6 in other bands. So that's a very easy requirement, I will say, if you compare with many of the teaching courses. And then once the student will start bachelor, it's a 3 years journey, which includes the placement.
Yep.
Not that the student needs to waste time after doing the bachelor.
Yep.
So the student can easily do the bachelor while doing the placement. And also that placement can create even job opportunities. And that's why we have seen a lot of students are getting interested into Bachelor of Early Childhood Education. And I believe now you can also give us a bit of insight about what's going to happen after the completion of Bachelor of Early Childhood Education.
Yeah, thanks Azman. So I feel like having a placement is really important while you're studying, right? So because while you're studying, you get the theory knowledge, but you also need to implement that practically as well, right? So of course there's a lot of universities out there which actually help you to get that placement, get you that real life experience before you finish your study when you are going into the market, right? Now, as everyone would be aware, with these sort of occupation, you know, especially let's say Victoria, all over Australia, there's very high demand. There is, you know, everyone really looking for, or employers are really looking for these sort of people to work in childcare centers, or even, you know, people who have, let's say, as you said, during your study, when you're doing bachelor's, you do your placement, there's a lot of opportunities that employers will hire you after you finish your study as well. So I see that as a really good option. Once, let's say, in terms of your future pathways for bachelor's of early childhood, Normally, once you've completed your study, you would apply for a subclass 485 through a post-study work stream. Remember that if you've studied a 3-year course, let's say a bachelor's degree is a 3-year course, you can apply for 485. You will get it for 2 to 4 years depending on where you have studied. Also depends on the crack course. As you guys would know, 485, there is eligibility for you guys to apply for the extension of TRs. So maybe you have finished this study already before, or maybe you're about to start this course or you're about to finish it. Look for this opportunity where you can get extension of TRs as well. Now, in terms of the PR pathways, with early childhood occupation, you would be eligible for subclass 189, 190, and also employer sponsorship pathways as well. The only thing that I would like to talk about is when you're finishing a 3-year degree, for you to get a positive skill assessment through AITSL, you require a 4 years of higher education. Now, bachelor's degree is 3 years, you do require a 4-year degree. So when you are planning these things initially, when you are getting enrolled into a course, keep in mind about the duration of the course, right? Let's say that someone has done bachelor's of early childhood. What would be the next option, Sadman?
Oh, that's a very interesting topic, Navjot. There are a few ways of looking at it. As you said, that the student needs 4 years of higher education. One way of looking at it, that the student can technically extend 1 year and do Bachelor of Early Childhood Honors, or the student can go for graduate diploma in early childhood as well. So that those two are both higher education courses, and then as you said, that it can create certain pathways for them.
Yeah. Yeah, and I would also take this opportunity to talk about, let's say that someone has done a bachelor's degree in another discipline, for example, bachelor's of business in accounting maybe, or someone has done bachelor's of IT, and now they're thinking about maybe like changing their course, or let's say changing their profession, for example, right? So I feel like this graduate diploma in early childhood can be a really good option, right?
Absolutely, absolutely, Navjot. Graduate diploma in early childhood is not only for the people who are coming from the education background. Please mark my word. This is going to change so many people's life, because if you are coming from, say, business background, or if you are coming from arts background or philosophy background, and you are just doing the graduate diploma in early childhood, it's changing your whole career for employment, and definitely, as Navjot, you said, also for the migration pathways. So definitely it's a very good choice, because graduate diploma in early childhood is a 12 months course, just 12 months, and the fees are very reasonable. We are looking around $25,000, $26,000 marks even. And as you were saying, that many students will be completing bachelor's, and then while you are on 485, this is very interesting. While you are on 485 and you want to do the graduate diploma in early childhood, you can do it even online.
Yeah. I think it's really important, because when you are on subclass 485, you know, someone want to change their profession, they have found this early childhood which might be appealing to them. So this could be that great opportunity for them to study at the same time and also work at the same time as well, right? So of course the course will provide you placements, but you can also work at other, for example, teacher aides. You can work at a, you know, helping out the teachers. You can get that sort of an exposure while you are studying this course. You can work full time and you can take this course, of course, full time as well. Once you finish this course, of course, you would have finished at least minimum, you know, 4 years of higher education. Now, whether or not it's in Australia that you have finished it, or maybe your own country of origin, country of passport, it would really depend in terms of the skill assessment processes. I keep mentioning 4 years of higher education. That does not have to be in Australia itself. It can be from another country. For example, someone who has done, let's say, Bachelor's of IT from India, and then they come here and then they do their graduate diploma in early childhood. In later stages, not sure, they may have done a master's degree in Australia, but then they choose to change their profession, right? So when they're doing that graduate diploma in early childhood, they can also be eligible to apply for the skill assessment because they'll meet the qualification requirement. Now, with the qualification requirement, there is only 4 years of higher education, which would include bachelor's above. Bachelor's above would include, of course, the bachelor's, the graduate diploma, and the master's degree as well. The other part which can be, which needs to be looked into would be a English requirement, which is also a very important part of the PR program for the skill assessment from AITSL. You require 7788 in IELTS academic to get a positive skill assessment if you have, if you have completed this course. Now, 77 you need in reading and writing, 88 in listening and speaking. However, there is an exemption available for you. Exemption would be if you have completed 4 years of higher education in Australia, for example, you may be able to claim this. So this is where it comes back to the same what we were discussing, right? You could have done a bachelor's degree in early childhood and would have completed a 4 years of higher education, and then you would be able to meet both the requirements for the qualification and also the English requirement, right?
Tell us about the new invention in terms of the English requirement, where one sitting retake is a very big topic.
Yeah.
So how does AITSL is looking into the one sitting retake?
I believe in AITSL, look, for me personally, what I would say, English is a very important part of the teaching part, right? When we are talking about early childhood teaching, these are the occupations where you would be talking to, kids from, children from 0 to 8 years old, right? So I feel like personally, English is really important. This is why the English requirements are kind of high in these sort of occupations. But of course, as I said, there are exemptions available. In terms of the retake options, I believe IELTS only take the academic part, so the general is not available. And in terms of a retake, taking maybe a one part of it, you cannot combine two separate tests, but you can do a test for a one particular module. Yeah. Thanks, Sadman. Yeah. So one module will be allowed to do, but so it's very important. I think when you are choosing these sort of courses, the pathway needs to be very clear. We have a lot of confusion, as you said before. There's a lot of confusion about the English requirements. People get confused a lot. But so what about people, Sadman, who have, let's say, finished the bachelor's degree, and maybe they want to do not a graduate diploma, but let's say for XYZ reason they're not able to complete the 4 years of higher education, right? So what would be the next steps that you would, what is the next study that you would talk about?
Definitely, the students can always look into doing Masters of Teaching, regardless of background. As I said before, Masters of Teaching is not for the students who are coming from the teaching or education background. Anyone who have completed their bachelor degree can get into the Masters of Teaching as long as they have fulfilled the eligibility requirement, and that includes the IELTS. So the Masters of Teaching requirement will be normally a bit higher. Normally what we have seen with some of the universities, their IELTS requirement is overall 7, listening 7.5, reading 6.5, writing 6.5, speaking 7.5. But the ultimate benefit of Masters of Teaching is you are getting a very higher education, which can lead to very good jobs, employment opportunities. We have seen even many governments are nowadays offering up to $50,000 of relocation bonus and other benefits. So teaching creates different employment opportunities and career opportunities. It's not just a course, it's an absolute career pathway, regardless of what was your background. As long as you have met the entry requirement and got a place at the university, it will create an absolute new career that has a huge potential for the employment.
Yeah, yeah. And I think that's very important in terms of the teaching. Remember that Australia is supporting people who do want to, go into this course. They're offering similar to nursing, I would say, with the teaching as well. I believe they get a lot of scholarships with early childhood or secondary as well, that they, especially for domestic students. So this is an indication for people to have that. If the government is supporting the domestic students, they want to have a lot of people working in this occupation because there is higher demand in this occupation, right? You can see, of course, in Australia the population is rising. Of course, with more population, there will be more childcare centers, and those childcare centers need people to be working. And I think teaching is a very rewarding career where you are able to shape, young children of Australia, which would be, very helpful in future for everybody.
Absolutely.
I think that's a very rewarding career in itself. And let's say that, let me just get back to the Masters of Teaching. Of course, we're talking about early childhood occupations as well. Sadman, there's also primary and other secondary options as well, right?
Yeah.
So in terms of the teaching, let's say someone wants to do Masters, do they have the same requirements, or are they different?
Normally, once we look at the higher education, especially if you're talking about masters, there are few pathways that the students are exploring. One is a 2 years degree where graduate diploma of early childhood is 1 year, and then the student is getting into the second year of Masters of Education and completing the Masters of Education within 1 year. So it becomes 2 years package course. Other options are Masters of Teaching, primary and secondary. So these are the ways students are getting into the teaching career. Now, as you were saying that domestic students are getting lots of subsidies, for international students, there is also a substantial amount of scholarships available, up to 30%.
Yeah.
And if you are on the 485 visas, then there are providers who is giving also extra scholarships for even 485 visa holders. So there are a lot of opportunities, a lot of hopes for the international students, and the employment opportunity is enormous.
Yeah, I think 30% is a great amount of scholarships which are available, and it can be, of course, these courses, Masters of Teaching, they can be expensive as well, right? Of course, it gives you a rewarding career, but of course, you look after your financials at the same time. But I think a lot of universities, as you mentioned, that they're offering these scholarships. So I think that's a really great initiative for people, who are, whether they are applying for it initially on student visa or whether they are on 485 visa already, right?
I would like to add another one point, Navjot, very interesting, that especially the students who are on 485 visa, they can do the graduate diploma in early childhood even online. Yes, the placements they need to attend, but the whole course itself, the theoretical part, they can even do it just online. And it can be even online self-paced. So it's not that, oh, I need to leave my current employment or I need to necessarily juggle a lot. There is a huge flexibility in this course. And not only just the graduate diploma, the other courses also do have online options. So this is that's why I call a diamond opportunity.
Yeah.
That scholarships are available,
Yeah.
online courses are available,
Yeah.
great income and employment opportunities.
Yeah.
So I will strongly recommend whoever is having feelings about teaching, they should contact us just as soon as possible.
Yeah. I definitely agree. Look, studying online is just one of those things which I personally prefer as well. I like to go on my own pace. It's not something that I don't like to go to classes, of course. I love studying, but in terms of the study, I like to have my balanced life. Of course, I have full-time work. At the same time, I want to study as well. So this online study really gives you that opportunity to kind of go
Yes.
in your own pace, right?
Yes.
Of course, the practical part of it, it's important. That time you would have to definitely go and study. But quickly, I want to talk about, let's say, for someone, we have finished the Masters of Teaching. Let's say we were on a student visa. What would be the next pathway? So, of course, you can apply for a 485 visa under a post-study work stream. You would get the visa for 3 to 5 years depending on where you have studied. Also really depends in bachelor's or master's if you've studied these courses in regional areas as well, right? This can help you to get those extra points, get that extra visa 1 year or 2 years depending on your location. So these all these things really kind of help you to get that right outcome as well. Now, in terms of the teaching, as I said, early childhood, primary, we talked briefly about these. We talked about secondary school. The skill assessment requirements are basically same for all these courses. Besides not the diploma of early childhood, but bachelor's, graduate diploma, or masters of teaching, you require minimum 4 years of bachelor degree with at least 1 year of teaching study, and of course the English requirement. So again, 7788 if you have not completed 4 years of higher education in Australia, but if you have completed 4 years of higher education, then you may be exempt from this requirement. So it can be an opportunity for people who, whether have done a bachelor's degree, they want to go through either a graduate diploma or a master's degree, or maybe someone has done a master's degree before and now they would like to take an opportunity to do maybe early childhood and primary both, right? So this can also be another option where they will have that flexibility to do the placements in both the age groups, and at the same time would be open to different sort of employers or different sort of schools where they can juggle between whether they want to stay in early childhood or a primary school as well. And I believe this occupation, in terms of the salary is great. It has been increasing from past years, and also a lot of holidays, right? Who wouldn't like that? So you get school holidays, you finish a term for a couple of weeks, and then you get 2-3 weeks off again, and they're all paid, right? So who wouldn't want that, right?
The best part about the teaching.
That's about it. So is there anything else you would like to talk about, Sadman, before we start taking questions? Again, if you guys have any questions regarding any of these courses, maybe you want us to really talk about a particular topic or a particular area that we may have fast tracked a bit, you can drop down a question. We will get back to you as soon as possible. So yeah, Sadman, is there anything else you would like to add?
Not too much, just for the students who are coming from certain countries like Ireland, England, that they are going to get even English requirement waiver where they are applying to the university or to the provider for admission. And also we talked about the scholarship, but another important thing about the regional area is the scholarship, and definitely you covered the migration aspect of it, that there are also certain migration related benefits as well. So I will say that this is a course which can basically cater everyone. because except your background, you might have done Bachelor of Engineering, you might have done Bachelor of Medicine, you might have done Bachelor of Arts, you might have done Bachelor of Business,
Yeah.
but Masters of Teaching, Graduate Diploma is welcoming everyone. So I think it's a great opportunity.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you, Sadman.
Yeah.
And if let's say that early childhood might not be the right thing personally to you, for example, you would be mainly dealing with birth from 0 to 8. Remember that there is a lot of other options available for you as well. We talked briefly about early childhood, primary, secondary. Of course, there are other options available. There could be special needs teacher, teachers of hearing impaired. These sort of occupations really have that less sort of people joining in. There's a lot of demand in these. There's a lot of work available in these particular occupations. So I would say, explore your options when you want to. If you have a feeling, you can of course get in touch with us, and we can help you to plan that pathway for you. And we have Sadman here. Of course, he will give you guidance about how long the courses are, what scholarships are available for you. So this is a really great opportunity for you to take and take that before it goes away, or yeah, again, feel free to message us, drop us questions. We'll be more than happy to help you there. Yeah. So we'll take some questions if they are available. So we've got a question. I think that might be for me or Pankaj Sani, asking about, my brother is a CA in India. Is there any possibility of getting a PR from there? So of course, a slightly bit off topic, but I'll still just give you a brief idea. Of course, you're more than welcome to book a meeting with me. I'll give you a more sort of a elaborate pathway for you, Pankaj. But if your brother's done a CA, a chartered accountant in India, we can apply for the skill assessment and apply through an offshore PR program. There are 189, 190, 491s available through offshore applications. So I really do need to kind of explore that option with you. What are the English requirements? How old? How many points do they have? All these things will determine which would be the right visa pathway for you. So you're more than welcome to message us your details, and then we can book an appointment. Then we've got question about Antique, suggestion for PR for electrical engineer. I would say again, it's an off-topic question, but I will just briefly talk about it. If you've done, I'm not sure whether you are in Australia or overseas. First of all, not even sure whether you've studied this course or not. So if you've done a Bachelor's of Electrical Engineering, you can apply for a skill assessment through Engineers Australia, and you would be eligible to get the pathway for either 189, 190, 491 through different states which are open at the moment. Of course, keeping in mind, we need to look into how many points you have. So again, I would like for us to kind of book a meeting together and then discuss this case in further, just so that I can give you a clear pathway for your individual rather than following a general information, right? I think that's about it. So if there's any other questions you guys have, feel free to message us, give us a call. We'll be more than happy to help you. We have offices everywhere. All you need to do is just go Aussizz group near me, and you'll be able to find it in 15 to 30 minutes. I'm saying just to kind of make it that okay, somewhere might be a bit longer, but of course, not to worry, we will be there. You can just message us. We are always there to provide you that consultation.
Absolutely, Navjot. Never lose your hope, because, for example, the students who have inquired, the chartered accountant, the engineers, even if you are not meeting the requirements for the skill assessment, that's not the end. There is always a study pathway, and that's why we are talking about the teaching, because
Yeah.
it caters everyone.
Yeah.
So if you are not getting your skill assessment done from Engineers Australia, don't lose your hope. There
Yeah.
is always possibility to do some other course.
Yeah.
So that's why we have a very good reputation of Aussizz Group, serving both the migration and the education needs. So feel free to contact us whenever you think you have just a question, and we'll try to cater you as much as possible. That's all for